ES Audio.
From the Evening Standard in London, I'm Rochelle Travis, and this is The Leader. The gym, a place where people go to feel healthy, blow off steam, and of course, where many try to lose weight. There's always a new fad diet, fitness trend, or alleged quick fix, and the latest one is called Semaglutide. Also known by brand names Ozempic and Wegovy, it's an injection originally intended to be used to treat diabetes. But TikTokers, influencers, and Hollywood celebrities are now taking it to achieve their ideal bodies. Even billionaire Elon Musk has admitted to being a fan. However, as with all these so-called miracle weight loss treatments, there is a dark side, and of course, health risks. Libby Galvin is a freelance journalist who's been looking into semaglutide for the Evening Standard.
A synthetic form of a hormone called GLP-1, and this was originally intended to treat type 2 diabetes rather than for weight loss. So the hormone stimulates insulin and it prevents the release of another hormone called glucagon, and it regulates our blood sugar levels. That means it also slows down how fast food moves out of the stomach, suppressing our appetite, and then hence the obvious weight loss effects. People inject it in the form of like a pen. So they'll inject it at home into the skin of their stomach once a week. And that is the sort of famous Ozempic that we're hearing so much about.
Libby, why is it becoming so popular now?
I think different versions of it under different names have been available for several years. But a lot of the time in medicine, you find it does take a long time before things catch on properly. And also it hasn't been available here on the NHS until very recently, until earlier this year or last year. So that's the reason we're hearing more about it in the UK right now, because it is actually available on the NHS. Most people who are taking it, though, will be having it on a private prescription, because on the NHS it is still only available for type 2 diabetes. So I think it's just that it's becoming better known. The fact that almost everyone says it does work, so many people struggle with their weight, and it's getting this reputation as a bit of a magic bullet, and demand for it follows. You'll see it's like really popular in the US. People all over TikTok and Instagram kind of post their weight loss journeys there. You know how powerful that social media kind of chain is, not to mention the fact that so many celebrities are rumoured to be using it.
Has anyone actually admitted to using it yet?
Well, the funny thing is, lots of people have been linked to it. Nobody really wants to admit it. The people that have been sort of bold enough to say, yes, I use it, the most famous is Elon Musk. He tweeted about the fact that he uses it, and that's what's helped him drop weight recently. American comedians Chelsea Handler and Rosie O'Donnell have both said that they use it. Chelsea Handler, in fact, said that she didn't even realise she was on it, but her anti-aging doctor just prescribed it as part of the anti-aging cocktail of things she takes. So I think that shows you how different medicine is in the US. But most of the celebrities distance themselves from it. For example, you know, the Kardashians were rumoured to be on it, and they have come out and said, no, we don't use this. I think there still is like an element of shame around it. It's kind of a secret weapon rather than one that lots of celebrities would want to admit to using.
What are the risks of using it?
Well, I mean, the risks are plentiful. If you look at the side effects that the manufacturers warn about, these include extreme nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, exhaustion. There's also talk of tumours. I mean, that was in tests on rats. It's been seen to increase the incidence of thyroid tumours. That's not been seen in humans yet. But of course, it's quite early days for a drug. And as we know, it can take a long time for the full effects of a drug to be seen. I also think the risks come when people who aren't meant to be taking it take it. You know, a lot of people who perhaps don't have a real medical need will want it as a quick fix to lose weight. They'll take it unsupervised, you know, from a dodgy source, and then who knows what will happen because they're not being monitored properly by a doctor.
Could there be a shortage for those with type 2 diabetes who might rely on this?
I mean, that is something that, you know, kind of has been said. Ultimately, you know, any company, they will produce to meet demand. But because there were some delays in supplies at the time, people were saying, you know, people shouldn't be using this for weight loss when people with type 2 diabetes really need it. So it's definitely kind of a ethical quandary to think about. But ultimately, I think supply will meet demand.
let's go to the ads. Stay there to hear more from Libby Galvin about what happened when she spoke to a semaglutide administrator.
She's obviously a doctor who is prescribing it privately. She's very pro it. She thinks it can really work. She's even taken it herself.
Why not hit rate and follow in the meantime? Welcome back. Libby, Ozempic and Wegovy have been hugely popular in America for a while now, but how popular and readily available is it in the UK?
So in the UK, you'd only be eligible to get it free on the NHS if you were a type 2 diabetic and your doctor decided that this was the best way to help you treat that. If you wanted it simply for weight loss, your doctor could prescribe it privately. It's described as off-label because it's not the official use of the drug. It means it works, but it doesn't. That's not what the regulators have actually permitted its use for. So for a private doctor, you might be looking at upwards of £500 to potentially thousands. If you were to buy it from an online pharmacy, you might be able to get it for as little as £150, £200, but you would probably be telling a few fibs in order to get it. And unfortunately, that is what some people do. On the black market, people are offering it online for, £80 a month kind of price. But obviously, no one would ever recommend you do that.
Is this drug regulated?
Yes, it's regulated by, the Healthcare Administration, NICE. But you can't. But like any prescription drug, you can get it through other means. And I think that is actually where a lot of people are getting it, unfortunately. People are talking about being sold it in nail salons and things like that, which obviously isn't regulated and isn't how it's supposed to be done.
You've been speaking to an administrator of semaglutide for your article. What does she say about the trend?
So she's obviously a doctor who is prescribing it privately. She's very pro it. She thinks it can really work. She's even taken it herself. But what she was really key about was that it needs to be used in people who actually have a medical need, and it needs to be done safely under medical supervision. She'd seen patients who had taken the drug into their own hands and got it through other sources and ended up quite ill with things like the extreme vomiting, the inability to kind of eat at all, not taking the right amounts. And so she said, this is a drug that works, and she's very supportive of its use, but only in the right circumstances.
And what was her attitude towards it being used for weight loss?
What a doctor thinks is a necessary weight loss, and what you or I might think we want to do to drop a few pounds to look kind of extra slim, they're very different things. I don't think any doctors would recommend that you use it if you don't have an overweight BMI or, something sort of significant like that. Because lots of slim people still want to lose weight, and this probably isn't the best way to do it.
Do you think this trend will just continue to grow in popularity?
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, at the moment, there is a bit of a shortage of the drug, so that might slightly slow it for a little while. It's early days, and I think it will depend on whether we start to see really negative side effects in the long term. If people do find that they're getting ill from it or having a lot of side effects, it will reduce in popularity. But so far, that hasn't been the case. And I don't think it will be likely that it will become available through doctors for anyone who doesn't have a real medical need to lose weight, but it will definitely be something that people are keeping their eye on over the coming years. And if it works, it will just become more widely available, because if something works, people will want it. A bit of a misinterpretation sometimes is that you can just get it, whatever weight you are, you can kind of just get it really easily and legally. If you aren't overweight and you're not under the care of a doctor, then a lot of the people who are taking it illegally. And that's where so many of the dangers come in.
To read more on this story and other features from Libby Galvin, then visit our website, standard.co.uk. And that's it from The Leader. This podcast is back on Monday at 4 p.m.